going to be your tour guide for the next 30 minutes. And what we're going to do is travel 2.5 miles of this river called the San Antonio River. And I'll tell you a little bit about how the city started and how it grew around this river. Before we get into the tour, I am required to ask a couple of things of you. All we ask is that you please not stand and please don't smoke. Kind of keep an eye on children. Sometimes they get excited, they stand on the seats and lean over the rail. The water's going to be about 4 feet deep for about 95% of the tour. Okay? We're going to start right here with this hotel, which is on the left, which is called La Mansión. That's mansion in Spanish. And this hotel actually started out as a school. The building was a school called St. Mary's School for Boys way back in 1853. And long story short, it was turned into a hotel in 1966. This part of the river that we started in is natural, okay? So all the city did was build around what was already here. They didn't change the shape of the river at all. Now, right here I'd like to show y'all an optical illusion. So if you have your cameras or phones ready to take a picture, what it is as soon as we come out from underneath this bridge right here, if you will quickly look up to the building to the left, because of the way that it was built, it's going to look as though it's a flat, freestanding wall. So if you're ready, look up to your left and you'll see why I said that. Isn't that weird, the way that building came out like that? It's actually a hospital called the Nix Hospital, spelled N-I-X. And it opened in 1930 and it's still open today. You're going to see some of these trees. These are bald cypress trees. Some of these trees are well over 100 or 150 years old. You're going to see a bunch of these on the Riverwalk as we travel around. All right, so what we're going to do right here is we're going to make a right turn, and we're going to enter the one spot on the river that has the most restaurants concentrated all into one area. As we make this turn, this hotel right here in front of us, it's called the Hyatt Regency, and it opened in 1981. If you walk into the lobby of this hotel and then just keep walking straight out the other side, you'll come out directly in front of the Alamo, right across the street from the front doors. So it's like a shortcut to the Alamo. All right, and now in this section in front of us, this is where you'll find the most restaurants on the Riverwalk, all concentrated all into one area. This first restaurant on the left, people ask for that one a lot. That's the Rainforest Cafe. It's right next to CVS Pharmacy. You'll find a lot more than just Mexican food here. You'll also find, for example, Cajun, seafood, Italian, just to mention a few of the many different types of foods that you'll find in this area. And you'll find the most ducks here waiting for someone to throw them something to eat. I got a couple of baby ducks there in front of me, so I'm going to go nice and slow here, just to make sure that I don't come too close to them. Robert Husman is the man that designed the Riverwalk as you see it today. And he was an architect in the 1920s. And it wasn't until 1941 that the city of San Antonio gave him permission to develop the Riverwalk and turn it into a tourist attraction. So that's when development started in the 1940s. There's a statue of Mr. Husman coming up right here to the right by the stairs leading up the bridge. So so we honor and remember him as the father of the Riverwalk. Now, it wasn't until 5 years later, 1946, that the first business actually opened up on the Riverwalk. And it was this Mexican restaurant right here on our right called Casa Rio. And they were also the first to provide riverside and river barge dining. How you doing, Steven? Good to see y'all. How y'all doing? He owes me like 80 bucks. See if you can get him to pay up, okay? All right. That's one of our boat captains, Steven, a good friend of mine. All right, so this part of the river that we started in, like I said, is natural. It's sort of like a big horseshoe shape. So what we're going to do first, before we continue around this part, is we're going to make a left turn here. And this is the one section of the river that is man-made, okay? So let's go ahead and make a left turn here. Let me explain why this section was developed in the first place. This didn't even exist before the 1960s. And we had a big event in our city's history called Hemisphere 68 that afternoon. And it was similar to the World's Fairs that were occurring in New York City and Seattle, Washington in the 60s. And so the city of San Antonio thought it would be a good idea to extend the Riverwalk a little bit and add some more hotels and more things for people to look at. And so that's why this section got created. All right, if you look at old photographs of the Riverwalk in the 1960s, you'll immediately notice some things missing. We had a sky ride here back then, where you got into a car suspended on a cable, and you went over the river and over the fairgrounds, and that's gone. And also, just like New York and Seattle had, we had a monorail here, but ours was on a much smaller scale. And that took you around the fairgrounds, and that's also gone. But if you have your cameras or phones ready, coming up on the right, after I pass a few of these trees, you'll get a good look at our tower, and that was the centerpiece of Hemisphere 68. All right, so let me slow down here just a little bit. And if you look to the right and look toward the sky, right about now you'll start to see the tower, which is 750 feet tall. There's a restaurant up there that revolves very slowly as you're eating. There's a bar and there's an observatory up there. Today's a pretty clear day. On a day like today, you should be able to see a lot of our city and surrounding counties, even the hillside. Yeah, there's a restaurant up there. It's called, excuse me. It's called something house. I forgot the name. of it. I'm sorry.
What's the name of this tower?
The Tower of the Americas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So is there a hotel over there?
Yes, I think there are a couple of hotels in that area. We're going to make a right turn right here. We're going to follow this boat into our the yard house. That's what the name is. I'm sorry, I couldn't think of the first thing. The yard house. And so anyway, we're going to follow this boat into our convention center. And so you'll get a glimpse of our convention center here. So let me just pause, and then we're going to follow Captain Mike into our convention center. And this is another view of the tower right there if you didn't get a chance to take a picture of it. All right, now as I make this turn, the convention center part is the building directly in front of us with the glass walkway, and also the building to the right. It was named after Henry B. Gonzalez, the late senator, who was the first Mexican-American elected to the U.S. House of Representatives in 1961. Now, coming up on the left, after we pass this little footbridge in front of us, you're going to see the Lila Cockrell Theater. This Lila Cockrell was the first woman elected mayor of San Antonio in 1975. And as we approach the theater, if you look above the entrance there to the left, you'll start to notice a big, beautiful mural. That mural that you're looking at right there is not painted onto the wall. What you're actually looking at right there are 400,000 tiny, different colored stones from Mexico to all put together to make that beautiful mural. The left side of it is supposed to show a little bit of Mexican history. Watch your arms, excuse me, as we pass this boat right here. And the right side is supposed to show a little bit of U.S. history. And there's a man and a woman and a baby in the very center of the mural, which is supposed to symbolize the coming together of the two nations and the two cultures in the future. Okay? I'm going to sit tight right here for a second and give Captain Mike an opportunity to turn his boat around, and then we'll go ahead and slip by him there, and then we'll turn around like he's doing right there. Okay? Anyway, just to finish up on the mural, it was made by a Mexican artist named Juan O'Gorman, and he called it the confluence of civilizations. And the word confluence means the coming together or joining of civilizations. And he was trying to show that Texas is a blending of different nations and different cultures that influenced our history. Okay, let me scoot over a little bit more. Watch your arms as they pass us by here. Let's go ahead and proceed. Thank you, sir. All right, so let's go ahead and get turned around here real quick. I know I have a boat behind me. And our next stop's going to be the mall. Okay? Normally, our boats can just follow each other around that little island in front of us. But the island's been under repairs for several months. That's why we have to take turns turning around here. So let me get us turned around. The water's very shallow here. You can probably see through to the bottom. Some people over the last few weeks have commented to me that they have visited our city years ago, and they mentioned how much cleaner the river looks. I've been living here 20 years, and I agree with them. I don't know what they're doing differently or if they're just doing it more often, but the river looks a lot better. As a matter of fact, for St. Patrick's Day, they're going to dye the river green. And I know what you're thinking. They don't need a whole lot of dye, maybe just a couple of drops. All right. So let me sit by here and let this boat captain by. Captain Ricardo. Hello. How you doing? All right. So let's go ahead and start heading to the mall. Just a couple more quick facts about the mural. It was made by a Mexican artist, Juan O'Gorman, as I said, and he called it the confluence of civilization. The word confluence means the coming together or joining of civilization. Texas, when you really think about our history, we have a pretty unique history compared to other states. At one time, we were under French rule. Then we were under Spanish rule. Then we were under Mexican rule. Then we were our own country. Eventually, we joined the United States. Texas. I think we joined the States in the late 1800s.
So you said Texas is the north?
Yeah? We were a part of Mexico first. No, France, Mexico, Spain. We were our own country. And then eventually we became part of the United States. All right, I'm gonna sit tight here, let another boat in. I apologize, we are pretty busy. And so we have a lot of boats on the river. So we'll let, watch your arms as as this boat passes us by, okay? We're gonna go nice and slow here past this boat. All right, thank you. All right, good. So our next stop is the mall here, and it's called the Shops at River Center. By the way, last year was a pretty interesting year in our city's history. We turned 300 years old last year. We're a very old city with a long military history. And then our company, Go Real Cruises, celebrated its 1-year anniversary. We're pretty new to giving tours on the river. All right, this is our mall right here where we're gonna make this turn to the right. It's called the Shops at River Center. You don't see too many malls like this that have a river basically running right into the center. And as you can see, as I make this turn, we have some boats in front of us. So this is our second location where you can take a narrated boat tour. Okay? All right, I'm gonna go nice and slow. Boats are loading and unloading. Underneath this bridge, if you need any gifts or souvenirs, they have some souvenir shops on either side of you. And also on the right there, a nice convenience store if you need it. Okay? I'm gonna pause here real quick. Oh wait, I don't need to pause. They wave me forward, so we're good to enter. There's our ticket office at this location right here to the right. Our ticket office also has a store in there, and we offer water, soda, Powerade, and beer and mixed drinks, okay? I'm gonna scoot by this boat right here, so watch your arms one more time. We'll go nice and slow. We're gonna go around this little island right here in front of us. The island is used mostly just for people taking pictures. But every now and then you'll see a show of some type on this little island. And on the other side of the island is a food court. We're surrounded here by 100 stores on 3 levels. This was built in 1988. If you're a chocolate lover, you'll recognize that store right there in front of us to the left, Ghirardelli's, which is known for selling high-quality chocolate, and a lot of people ask for that store a lot. That's where they're located right there. All right, well, let's go ahead and get turned around here. We'll go around this little island, and then we're going to head back out of this man-made section altogether. All right. This isn't part of your tour, it's just unusual, so we mention it. If you look at this tree in front of us, the one to the right, what's unusual about this tree is that it has 2 different types of fruit growing on the same tree. As we get, this one right here, as we get closer, you'll notice that there's oranges on some branches and limes on some other branches, so I thought I'd point that out, it's kind of unusual. I will say though, a lot of the fruit has fallen off. A lot of the old fruit. I think these trees are getting ready to bloom again. We haven't had too much of a winter this year. No, you can tell the difference. There's 2 different types. Like I said, a lot of it has fallen off though. Now this one has lines all over it, mostly on the top now. A lot of this one has fallen off. A lot of these are turning yellow already. I think that one's getting ready to bloom again also. All right, so let's go ahead and pick up the pace now that we've passed some of these boats here. Gonna make a right turn and we'll exit out of this man-made section. We're already coming up on the halfway point. Everyone still doing okay? All right, good. Now, if you look right here to the right, you'll see a statue right there of Saint Anthony de Padua. And that was a gift to our city from Portugal, from the fair. Saint Anthony is the saint of little children and lost items. And the way it happened that our city got its name from that saint is that a Spanish missionary here named Father Damien Massonet conducted the first Catholic Mass in this area. And ever since that day, we've been known as San Antonio. No, it had no name. The Indians didn't have a name for it, you know. All right, if you look right here to the right, after we pass a few of these trees, you're going to start to get a good view of the church right there, which is called St. Joseph's Catholic Church, which was built way back in 1868 for a growing German community here that wanted a place where they could worship in their native language. German and French immigrants first arrived in this area in the mid-1800s. At one time, there was more Germans living here than any other ethnicity. That's why, to this day, we still have towns around San Antonio with large German populations like New Braunfels and Schulenburg and Fredericksburg. Now, if you look on this bridge and look to the right, you'll see that large orange statue right there called the Torch of Friendship. That was a gift to our city from Mexico in 2002 to signify the friendship between the two countries. All right, we're going to pass under this second bridge right here. And then we'll go here and turn to the left. We're going to continue around this natural part of the highway. All right, so that gave you a little bit of an idea of how the Riverwalk started to get developed in the 40s, and then this section that we're leaving right now, how it developed in the 60s. And so all we have left really is, I just want to show you how the city actually started, okay? And as we make this turn right here, you're going to see more of our boats. And so this is our third and final location where you could take a narrated boat tour. But regardless of where you take the tour from, we're all supposed to pretty much cover the same things. Okay? So I'm going to go nice and slow. As you can see, they're loading and unloading boats right here. This hotel that's right here on our left is called the Hilton Palacio del Rio Hotel. And that's Palace on the River in Spanish. This was not built in the usual way. The builder was H.B. Zachary back in 1967, and the Hilton was in a hurry to get this finished for Hemisphere 68. So what the builder did to speed up the building process is they built the first 4 floors right here on site. But all these rooms that you see above us right here, they're called modular rooms. They were actually built a few miles south of here. And then the rooms were brought over and stacked up on top of each other. At one point, they were adding 35 rooms a day. And that's how they were able to build this 500-room hotel from start to finish in 202 working days. This one, about 8 months. I'm sorry, what? About 8 months, yeah. This little area we just entered right here is called La Villita, and that's Spanish for the little village. So just to give you an idea how the city started, as far as we know, the first people that lived here were the Payaya Indians, and so they called the river Yanaguana. For them, that meant place of restful waters. Then the Spanish started to arrive, and by 1722, the Spanish had amassed an army here that was participating in the battles that led up to the Battle of the Alamo. How many of you have ever seen this movie called Miss Congeniality with Sandra Bullock? Anybody? A few of you? Okay. All right. He did? Okay, very good. When you buy a ticket, I'll let you participate. No, I'm just kidding. The reason I bring up that movie, there was a scene in the movie where the beauty contestants had to answer questions about world peace. And next time you watch it, pay close attention during that scene, and you'll notice they filmed it on our little stage right here to the right. And this time of the year, we don't have a whole lot of shows in this theater, but that's going to change here pretty quickly. This month, of course, is spring break. Next month, our city has its annual festival, Fiesta. And by May, we're already getting into peak season. So that boat captain waved me forward. I'm going to go slowly around him. So please watch your arms as we pass me by. Yeah, this is man-made. Now, if you look to the right, you'll see a statue of a cowboy during a cattle drive. And the statue sits outside of this museum called the Bristol Western Art Museum. And if you like things that have to do with cowboys or the old American West or Texas, you'll like this museum. There's old saddles in there, old rifles, and a recreation of the Battle of the Alamo. All right. As you can see, the trusses on this bridge are a little low, so I'm going to pause right here and get the boat lined up to go safely underneath. Just in case I don't get it perfect right down the center, just be aware, okay? Please watch your heads on both sides. We're going to go nice and slow. The water is pretty shallow in this section, and the ground underneath the water is hard packed, so this was a popular crossing point for the early settlers of the 1800s. If you look right here to the right where this gentleman is standing, you'll notice that there is a tree and a couple of benches and then this little statue of a table. But look at what everything's sitting on. Everything's sitting on the roots of the tree, and by itself it formed the heart-shaped island. I'm tracing the heart slowly with my hand so you could see that it looks like a heart. And that's why we call that little island Marriage Island, because many people have real weddings right there. They feel like it's good luck to get married on that heart-shaped island. And so we average about 300 weddings a year there. This hotel to the right is the Westin, and this opened in 1999. They're almost finished remodeling all the rooms, so it's good to see them back up and running and back to normal. Now, this building on the left with the U.S. flag on top is called the Tower Life Building. And this 400-foot tall building was built in 1929. If that year sounds familiar, that was the year of the famous stock market crash. Now that we're closer to the building, if you look at the top part, you'll notice gargoyles sticking out of the edges all around the top of the building. And if you look underneath the second floor windows, all across this building from left to right, right here where I'm pointing, you'll notice a whole line of grotesque looking faces in groups of tubes. Everyone see those faces right there? Now, the original owners of this building put all that on the building back then is because they were two brothers called the Smith brothers that had a reputation for being superstitious. And they thought that this would give them a little bit of protection against evil spirits and bad luck, and they were wrong. Later that year, when the stock market had its famous crash, they lost their building. gonna follow this boat out of that floodgate in front of us right here with the green light on top. But before we do, let me tell you about this building coming up here on the right. This building is called the International Center. Inside this building, you'll find NAFTA offices that have to do with business and trade between Mexico and the United States. And at night, we park our boats underneath this building in the whole marina. And that building in front of us, on the other side of this bridge, is our courthouse, the Bexar County Courthouse, which was built way back in 1897, making it one of the oldest courthouses in our state. And it's bright red like that because it's made out of Texan granite and red sandstone. All right, so I'm gonna pause right here and then we're gonna follow this boat out of this floodgate right here in front of us, okay? All right, thank you. Now, in case you're wondering if the Riverwalk ever floods or how do we prevent flooding, this is a good example right here. A door comes up from underneath the water right here, and it cuts off water to this part of the river that we're leaving behind. And so that's one way we try to keep it level during torrential rains. If the city needs to, pumps can also release water from that section into this section, and then all the city has to do is start opening these gates behind us, and the water bypasses the downtown area and just keeps moving south of the city. All of this was built because of a flood that we had in 1921. Believe it or not, the Houston Street Bridge is about 4 bridges in front of us. And right there, they measured the water at 9 feet over the bridge. But ever since then, flooding has not reoccurred. No, that last one, Harvey, that hit the Gulf, it missed us.
Yeah, see, we're from Houston and they hit us pretty bad.
Oh, okay, yeah, that was the last one, but we were lucky to escape that. Yeah, all those locks on that fence, I'm sorry folks, is a tradition that started in Paris, France, called Locks of Love, where couples show their love for each other by putting a lock on a fence, and then they take the key and throw it into the river, and we follow that tradition now. The last thing I want to show you today is on your left, at the top of these stairs, you'll see a beautiful old church right there called San Fernando Cathedral, which was built way back in 1733 by 16 families from the Canary Islands. That is one of the oldest churches in America, and the ashes of the men that died at the Battle of the Alamo are buried underneath that church. Well, folks, once again, my name is Bobby. I want to thank you so much for coming out on a beautiful afternoon. Let me pause right here. And I'm glad that I had the opportunity to meet you and show you around the river and tell you a little bit about our history. Now's a good time for you to start checking around you to make sure you don't leave anything behind on the boat. Also, as I get ready to dock once again here at the Aztec Theater, please allow me a few seconds to tie the boat securely so that we don't have any accidents at the last minute. Watch your children as they're getting off. And then finally, I'd just like to say that tipping your boat captain for a job well done is allowed, accepted, and appreciated. Thank you again for visiting our city and riding with Go Rio Cruises, and I hope you enjoy the rest of this beautiful day here in our town.